So it has been about a year since I lost my job due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Luckily, I have been super financially supported by my sexy sugar daddy, Justin Trudeau, first through the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit and now with regular EI. However, my unemployment insurance is going to run out within the next month and a half, meaning I need to be a productive member of society again and get a job. Luckily, I already have a job lined up, and that is doing tree planting. This is going to be my very first season in the bush, and I'm very excited. However, I had to pick up a lot of gear in order to have everything I need to make the most of that experience and make a lot of money. So I thought I would make this video to share with you guys everything that I'm going to be packing with me in order to survive a whole season out in the bush, including everything I need to do the job itself, to remain physically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy, and everything that I'm bringing with me to create a comfortable living environment as I am going to be in a bush camp. The first section of items includes everything that I'm going to be bringing with me on a typical working day out on the cut block. Most of the planting specific items I actually ordered through my company. Not all planting companies do this, but mine did, so I just had to fill out a form and all of that will be deducted from my first paycheck. This includes planting bags, my shovel, which is the Bush Pro Speed Blade, some Silvacool sacks, flagging tape, plot cord, and some Nitrodex gloves. On top of that, I ordered another 30 pairs of PU coated gardening gloves. They recommend definitely getting a pair of work gloves that are coated with some kind of puncture-proof fabric because gloves wear out really fast. In addition to that, I bought myself a watch so I can keep track of my planting speed and count down the minutes until a particularly shitty shift is over. I also know that I'm going to be going through a lot of water, so I got myself a 1 gallon water jug to carry with me. It was pretty cheap and there's a lot of them in the thrift store. I also got a really cheap waterproof speaker from Amazon that I'm going to be using with me to pump some tunes on the block. I'm also packing my lunch bag that I already had and a little waterproof phone case, and all of those items I am going to be placing in a 20-liter dry bag that I am going to be bringing out with me every day in the bush. So as long as the bear doesn't jack it, I think my stuff is going to be pretty safe in there. The most important piece of equipment on this list, however, are the shoes. My shoes are going to be my moneymaker because I'm going to be on my feet for 7, 8, or however many hours a day planting. So there's a lot of different shoe options that planters go for. You definitely need something durable because everything that you bring with you planting will just get absolutely destroyed for a season. There are some people who say it's better to just buy a couple of cheap pairs of shoes and cycle through them. However, I personally want to get one pair that's super durable. I ended up going for a pair of waterproof Gore-Tex Zamberlan shoes. They were on sale and they have really amazing ankle support. There's something about a good hiking boot that just makes you feel indestructible. So that's what I'm going to be going for. I know a lot of people recommend Scarpas, but they are pretty expensive, and so instead of going for that, I actually got myself 2 pairs of shoes. I got myself the Zamberlans, but then I also had a friend who said she swears by her extra tough rain boots, and so I got myself a pair of those too because they weren't too expensive, and the total for those 2 shoes basically was equivalent to 1 pair of Scarpas. So I don't know which one I'll prefer. I got both to test it out and see which one I like, and hopefully between the 2 of them I don't destroy either one by the end of the season. In order to make the hiking shoes last longer, I also got myself a pair of gaiters, which just kind of help keep sticks and rocks from stabbing through and getting down into your shoes, and they also provide a little bit more water resistance so my socks and stuff don't get wet during a muddy or rainy day. In terms of work-related clothing, I definitely prioritize sourcing items with fabrics that either are able to keep me warm even when it's wet out, or are super lightweight and sweat wicking that will dry fast during really hot days. In terms of sweaters, I got 3 of them that are all merino wool. The benefits of wool is that even if it is wet, it will keep you warm. I've realized during my time working in other outdoor environments, the goal isn't necessarily to keep yourself dry, because that's very hard to do, but rather it's to keep yourself warm so that you're able to keep moving and do what you gotta do. Underneath that, I have a couple of long sleeve base layer tops to choose from. I also have some t-shirts for warm days that I will layer underneath a long flowy top to keep the sun off my skin and hopefully the bugs from biting me. In terms of pants, I got several varieties. Your standard hiking pants, as well as a waterproof pair of pants for particularly rainy days. These are the Viking Wendigo brand variety. I also got myself a couple of pairs of funky tights that I would probably never wear out in public otherwise, but apparently on the block, that's what people like to do to just boost morale and express themselves. I was also told that I need to pack a lot of socks, basically all the socks that I can fit into my bags. So I got regular short crew socks as well as some long merino wool hiking socks to layer on top of, and I got myself some Bama boot sole liners that will be used with my rain boots to also keep myself warm and to keep myself snug, because those boots are a bit wider. In addition to that, I got myself a pair of microfiber sweat wicking underwear, which I have been loving using so far. And to top it all off, of course, I have your standard rain jacket and some hats and buffs to keep the sun and the sweat out of my eyes. The next group of items I am calling health and safety, because it includes all of the stuff that I'm going to be bringing in order to keep my body in tip-top shape as I go through the season. Planting is definitely like an extreme sport and a long drawn marathon, so it's important to prevent the onset of tendonitis in your joints and keep your muscles from getting tight and sore and achy. So to combat those issues, I got some supplements including electrolytes. These are really important to put into your water while you're out working on the block, because just drinking straight up water isn't enough. It's just gonna run through you. You need to replenish your salts and your mineral content. I also was recommended getting magnesium, which is apparently a very important supplement to take to help prevent and mitigate the effects of muscle cramping, especially during the first little bit of the planting season when the body is first starting to adjust to this really difficult task. To top it off, I got caffeine pills, which are just going to be a quick boost of energy for me when I need it, as well as cordyceps, which is kind of a wild card item for me. I saw on one of the tree planting Facebook groups that someone recommended it. Cordyceps is actually a form of fungus that has been known to basically zombify ant brains and use them as little vehicles to carry their spores around. However, in humans, it is supposed to help boost your immune system and also give yourself an extra energy boost during the working day. So hopefully it will help with my physical performance. I also ordered 4 bottles of CBD oil. Now, I have never used CBD oil before, but I thought in terms of reducing pain and inflammation, this would be a good time to test it out and see if it really works for me. The one thing that I am a bit upset about in terms of the CBD oil is the fact that I got them from a drug dealer because they were cheap. However, Quality assurance is, I guess, not a thing in drug dealer worlds because all the bottles are like not filled to the top and they're different amounts. So that is a bit annoying, but I guess that's what you get for buying things from a drug dealer. So hopefully they work well. The rest of his goods are pretty good, so I don't think I'm gonna have anything to complain about. Furthermore, I picked up a little muscle roller from the thrift store in order to just loosen up my joints at the end of every shift. I was also recommended by a bunch of tree planters to pick up some braces for my joints. Now, this is obviously helpful if you do feel the onset of tendinitis, but a lot of people actually said they start planning in the season with these braces on as a form of preventative measure, just to, you know, while your body is getting used to the movement, helping to alleviate some of the stress on the joints. So I basically got all the braces possible. I got one for my wrists, my elbows, my knee, and my ankle. So I may look a little bit weird stepping onto the block, but you know what? I really want to prevent getting tendinitis, especially in the first couple of shifts. My body is basically my money maker, and health is wealth, baby. Other safety related items include bear sprays and a bear banger. I will definitely be out in very wild backcountry, so wild animal encounters will happen. And I already had these items, so I didn't really have to spend any more money on it. I was also told that duct tape is always useful, so I got a roll of that. The rest of the items on this list include personal hygiene items like face creams and sunscreens and lip balms. I'm also packing some condoms and lube because the bush is a primal environment, and as a solo female traveler during the height of a global pandemic, this is probably the best opportunity I have all year to get laid, and I'm going to make sure that I am going about it safely. You know, tree planting is still a male-dominated industry, and honey, I'm kind of looking to be dominated by some men. Let's just clarify that that's only in the bedroom, so not in the workplace. If that's what you were thinking, then you need to get your mind out of the gutter of misogyny, okay? The last group of items pertain to my living setup and everything that I'm bringing with me just for comfort and enjoyment, basically. Now, the way that bush camps work is there aren't really lodges in the areas that we're staying in. It's basically just you bringing your own living setup. A lot of people go with tents. 4-person tents that you can stand up in are a popular option, and it's really important to get something that is high quality and durable in order to last the entire season and hopefully beyond. People also recommend not cheaping out on your bedding setup, so getting a really nice inflatable mattress as well as maybe even a foam cushion to put underneath, and layer on top of that with a very warm sleeping bag. They recommend like one that is rated for at least -15 degrees Celsius. There's other people who will bring comforters as well. Really, it's all about what you can fit into both your budget and your backpack or vehicle or whatever else you're bringing in order to carry all your stuff around. Luckily for me though, I will not have to be sleeping in a tent because I already own a camper van. Now, this was basically a $10,000 investment I made back in 2019 that has now costed me, including all the things that I've put inside of it, closer to like $23,000, which is a lot, but you know what? It's starting to pay off because I'm gonna be balling in camp with a super comfortable waterproof setup and an amazing bed with lots of blankets. I'm not really going for a sleeping bag. I have one that is not rated for -15 degrees, but in addition to that, I have another fuzzy fleece blanket and a comforter, and I got myself an electric blanket actually, which has been super nice to put on the bottom because I realized that my regular bed sheet was getting really cold during chilly nights. So I put my electric heater on the bottom, and that it runs off of like a 12-volt car battery charger. So now my bed setup is super cozy. I've been sleeping in it since March. So I think I will be nice and toasty by the time May, June, July, and August rolls around. So I have a couple of items that I'm bringing with me to enjoy myself on days off. That includes my ukulele and songbook. I was also told that people like to bring a hard drive to plug into their laptops in order to watch movies. However, I realized that I'm not really a movie watcher. I prefer to like listen to podcasts or YouTube videos. So instead, what I'm doing with the hard drive is I have already pre-downloaded a bunch of ukulele tutorials that I am just gonna stream off my laptop and learn some new songs in the bush. I also downloaded a series of yoga videos to keep myself loose and limber, and some physiotherapy videos so that if any one of my joints is starting to hurt, I have some exercises that I can do for strength and restoration. I also have a section on my hard drive dedicated to just mental health. So this includes all the podcasts that I can think of that will just help me boost my confidence and get myself out of like a dark and twisty mindset. In addition to those videos, another way that I'm going to be coping with the emotional and physical difficulties of the job is through journaling. Now, I am a huge proponent of journaling, and I see it as the stories of my life. So I like to journal frequently, not just writing down everything that has happened to me, but also doing a little bit of therapy on myself by processing and letting go of those experiences in a healthy way. It also is a form of creativity for me. I like writing and doing poetry. So journaling is very important to me, and I swear by the Paper Blanks journals. They are so beautiful and high quality, made out of sustainable resources, and although they are a bit pricey, they are totally worth it for me. They have a little memento pouch in the back that you can put in any little bits of pictures or notes or dried flowers or whatever else you want to put in to remind yourself of the times that you've written in the books. And again, if this is the story of my life, I want the books themselves to look really beautiful. So I always go for the really beautifully embroidered paper blank notebooks. I'm also a very sentimental person, so I invested in a bunch of Polaroid films to use with my Instax camera. One of the main things that I'm really excited about with tree planting is just the opportunity to connect deeply with a community of very interesting and loving human beings. And in order to help facilitate that, I got myself this very interesting card game that's called We're Not Really Strangers. Now, the Instagram ads that were targeted to me definitely sold me over on this. It looks like a very interesting game. There's several levels. I think one's like perception and then connection and then reflection. So I'm excited to play that with others and really get to know people on a deeper level. That basically concludes all of the things that I'm going to be bringing with me to this job. I think I've spent probably close to $2,000 on all these things, which, don't get me wrong, is pretty steep. There are people who spend much less, but my philosophy is, you kind of have to spend money to make money. And in this case, everything that I'm investing in is for my own health, both maintaining my physical health, but also maintaining my emotional and spiritual health, and making sure that I can be as comfortable as possible in this environment, which is very uncomfortable by nature. To put things into perspective a little bit more, this to me is actually a lot less money that I have to invest into this experience compared to my other outdoor work experiences. Back in, I believe, the summer of 2018, I did a 3-month internship with a biological research NGO in the Costa Rican rainforest, and that was about a $6,000 investment, which included my plane ticket, all the gear that I brought, but also the expenses for living in the dorms and getting my food covered by the organization. I had to pay for all of that. Luckily, it was a internship opportunity through my university, so I got a $3,000 bursary, meaning I only had to pay $3,000 out of pocket. However, I wasn't paid for that opportunity. So that experience was a net loss in terms of finances for me. However, with this experience, there are no camp costs. And so that means my food is included with the stay, and I already have my van, so I don't need to pay for a place to live in. And I'm going to be making money during the season. My goal hopefully is to make at least 10 grand. I really want to be ballin', so hopefully I can hit around $12,000 or more, meaning that I will probably see a significant profit. And so the $2,000 that I invested in all these things doesn't really matter that much to me, especially with all the benefit that I'm getting out of it in terms of the level of comfort and security it's going to bring to my experience. So I hope that this video was informative to you guys. Let me know if you're a tree planter, any of the things that I may have missed that really was helpful within your experience. Like I said, this is my first time in the bush, and I did my best doing my research, talking to other planners to get as many things as possible in order to make the most about this experience. But I'm curious to know what I got wrong or what I'll end up not really using as much as I thought I did. So this is a learning opportunity for me that is ongoing. And with that, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, because there will be a lot more tree planting content coming up, including a docu-series called Dirt and Debauchery that I am going to be working on during my season. So stay tuned for that, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day.